Something is going on inside the Cleveland Browns organization, and nobody can quite explain it. What should have been the beginning of a new era, a fresh quarterback with superstar potential, a roster loaded with veterans, and a fan base desperate for success, has turned into one of the most unsettling stories in the NFL right now. And the craziest part? The proof is right there on the field for everyone to see. Every week, more footage surfaces online, and every week, the same uncomfortable question keeps growing louder. Why does it look like the rookie quarterback is being left completely defenseless? Fans aren't just confused, they're furious. Analysts are baffled. Even players from other teams are noticing something feels off. The mistakes happening in Cleveland are not normal rookie growing pains, and they're too bizarre to simply chalk up to coincidence. The NFL is a league built on toughness, execution, and accountability. Offensive linemen are supposed to be the bodyguards, the first and most important layer of protection between a franchise quarterback and the chaos unfolding across the line of scrimmage. But lately, Cleveland's protection doesn't look like protection at all. It looks broken, it looks careless, and some people believe, emphasis on believe, that it might even be intentional. We're talking about crucial downs where blocking assignments somehow vanish into thin air. Veteran linemen who look like they've forgotten the fundamentals they mastered more than a decade ago. Plays that dissolve so quickly the quarterback barely has time to complete his drop back before he's swallowed by the defense. And over again, it's happening when the rookie is the one taking the snap. The truth is, the NFL world has seen bad offensive lines. It has seen miscommunication, injuries, chemistry issues, all the usual stuff that hurts a young quarterback's development. But what we're seeing in Cleveland feels like something different, something much stranger, something that has sparked rumors, theories, and heated debates across every platform where football fans gather. Some are calling it a collapse. Others say it's a crisis. A growing number of people online are whispering words like sabotage. And while nobody can say for sure what's really happening behind those closed facility doors, the footage circulating around the internet has way too many people believing that this isn't just about bad football anymore. How does a team with this much talent look so unprepared? How do multiple veterans in multiple games make the exact kind of mistakes that leave only one player, the rookie, to deal with the consequences? And why hasn't the organization stepped forward with a single confident explanation for the disaster unfolding in front of the entire country? Until those answers come, the only thing we truly know is this: something is very wrong in Cleveland, and the film, the cold, unforgiving truth of NFL reality, is exposing it snap by snap. It all began with a single snap that instantly became one of the most talked about plays in football, and not because it was impressive. Instead, this 4th-and-1 moment has become the centerpiece of a controversy that refuses to die. Picture the scene. The Browns are inches away from converting, just a small push needed to keep the drive alive. The kind of situation offensive linemen dream about, because this is where they impose their will. This is where power matters more than play design. 1 yard, 1 moment, 1 job. Protect your quarterback and move the line forward. But what happened next shocked not just the Browns fan base, but the entire football world.
But when the ball was snapped, none of that happened. Instead, the offensive line parted like an open doorway. Not a defender fought through, they walked through. It looked like Cleveland's blockers decided to take the play off at the exact same time. And in the middle of this nightmare, rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders stood completely alone, staring at 2 defenders who had been gifted a free pass into the backfield. Millions have watched the clip, and every time someone rewinds it, the same 2 details turn this from a bad football moment into a mystery. First, a backfield movement that should have drawn an automatic penalty, a clear false start, somehow ignored by the officials. If the ref doesn't catch something that obvious, fans start wondering what else is being missed. Second, the right tackle, a veteran who has seen just about everything, did something that still has analysts scratching their heads. Instead of punching forward and meeting the defender like he was coached since high school, he launched himself into empty space, diving completely past the only man he was supposed to block. It looked less like a football play and more like a failed stunt routine. And if that wasn't weird enough, the left guard, another veteran voice on the line, simply fell. No push, no resistance, no impact. One step and he was on the ground, leaving a defender untouched and grinning as he stormed toward the rookie quarterback. The whole thing lasted barely 2 seconds, but that was all the defense needed to bury Sanders and send the Browns' offense trotting off the field in disbelief. At first, fans tried to explain it away as confusion or miscommunication. Maybe someone didn't hear the snap count. Maybe a blocking assignment got mixed up. It happens, occasionally. But the more people watched the clip, the harder those excuses became to believe. The mistakes weren't subtle. They were glaring, synchronized, almost too perfectly disastrous to brush off. Football fans have seen blown plays before. They've seen linemen get beat. They've seen pressure break through. But what they watched here, it didn't look like failure. It looked like abandonment. That single snap spread across TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere football lives online. Video breakdowns started popping up. Former players began weighing in. Analysts slowed the tape frame by frame, searching for any logical explanation. And the biggest takeaway wasn't the play itself, it was the pattern it might represent. Because what if this wasn't the first time something like this happened? What if this wasn't just one weird moment? What if this was a sign of something much, much deeper? And that's exactly where this story takes its darkest turn. Because when fans and analysts went back and watched more film, they found plenty more where this came from.
At first, people tried to convince themselves that the viral 4th-and-1 disaster was just an ugly football moment, a misread, a slip, a communication glitch, something that could be corrected in the next film session and forgotten by the following week. But that comforting thought didn't last long, because as soon as the clip exploded online, fans and analysts did what they do best. They went digging. They rewound old snaps. They slowed film down to half speed. They looked for clues. And what they found wasn't a fluke. It was a pattern. Multiple plays began resurfacing where the exact same bizarre problems appeared. Not every once in a while, but specifically when the rookie quarterback was on the field. When another QB was under center, the line looked normal, aggressive, organized, sharp. But when Sanders stepped up, suddenly the chaos returned. There were plays where linemen locked on to the wrong defender, not just a wrong angle, but a completely wrong direction, leaving edge rushers untouched. Other times, two linemen would block each other, turning protection into a tangled mess while defenders sprinted past without resistance. And every time it happened, the rookie became the target, eating hits he never should have taken. Fans started asking uncomfortable questions. Why do veterans look like beginners only in these moments? How do multiple guys mess up the exact same way on different plays? What are the odds this keeps happening only when it hurts the rookie? And the answer nobody wanted to say out loud slowly crept into the comment section. This looks intentional. Now, to be clear, no one can prove that. No one outside the facility knows what's being said in meeting rooms or inside the huddle. But the appearance alone has people suspicious. Football players don't train their entire lives to forget how to block someone standing right in front of them. These are professional athletes paid millions to protect the most crucial position in sports. Mistakes this extreme should be rare, not recurring. The more clips surfaced, the louder the speculation got. Reports claim there might be frustration in the building. Rumors suggest jealousy over attention and expectations could be playing a role. From the outside looking in, it's impossible to know what emotions are being bottled up behind those locked doors. But what fans can see is a rookie quarterback constantly paying the price. And here's where things get even stranger. Some observers notice that after each disastrous breakdown, the guilty linemen rarely reacted. No immediate frustration, no turning to help the quarterback up, no animated discussions with coaches. It's like they wanted to pretend nothing unusual happened, even when everyone in the stadium knew something was off. Nothing destroys trust faster than inconsistency. And right now, it looks like Sanders can't trust the very people assigned to be his shield. Every snap must feel like a question. Will I have time, or am I about to get crushed again?
When that doubt starts to sink in, a quarterback's career can change forever. But the real fear isn't just in what's already happened, it's in what might be brewing underneath. Because if there really is tension building between the rookie and his protectors, the effects won't just show up on a few viral clips. They could tear apart the entire offense. And that leads us directly to the heart of this controversy. Where is all of this coming from? Who is driving the frustration? And how deep do these problems actually go? To find those answers, we have to look inside the locker room. Behind every NFL team, there's a world the cameras never see. Egos, expectations, emotions, and the constant fight for respect. And according to what some fans and insiders are saying online, that hidden world in Cleveland might be boiling over. The rookie quarterback arrived with more spotlight than most newcomers ever experience. He didn't just walk into the NFL, he walked in with the name that already carried weight across the entire football landscape. Some believe that level of attention can create friction in a locker room full of veterans who had to fight for years to earn their place. Rumors suggest that a few established players might not appreciate how quickly the spotlight shifted toward the rookie. He's the fresh face. The media talks about him nonstop. Young fans wear his jersey before he's even thrown a touchdown. Meanwhile, the linemen, the ones who grind in the trenches every snap, often get attention only when something goes wrong. Some fans believe that tension has been quietly building, fueled by jealousy or resentment over who gets credit and who gets praise. There's also the reality of leadership dynamics. Veteran linemen are usually the ones who drive the standard. They decide what's acceptable and what isn't on the field. But now there's a new voice behind center. A rookie calling out protections, making adjustments, directing the offense. For some older players, that transition doesn't always feel natural. Reports claim certain voices in the building might still see him as the new kid trying to run the show before he's fully earned it in their eyes. And then there's the pressure. Every mistake the team makes seems to circle back to the quarterback. Every loss becomes a bigger story because of who he is. That kind of scrutiny can force people to pick sides, even if they don't say it out loud. Some teammates could be quietly supporting the rookie's rise, while others might be waiting for him to fail so the spotlight returns to where they think it belongs. To be clear, none of this has been confirmed by the organization. No one is publicly pointing fingers. But when the film shows a quarterback repeatedly being left exposed, and when the reactions from teammates seem strangely muted, fans naturally start to connect dots, even if those dots are still blurry. They watch how players interact after plays. They look for body language cues. They notice who rushes over to help the quarterback off the turf and who doesn't. Whether the tension is real or imagined, the effect is the same. A growing belief among outsiders that not everyone in Cleveland is united behind their young signal caller. And if the locker room isn't fully behind the quarterback, even just a few cracks, those fractures can quickly spread across an entire team.
Because when frustration enters the equation, accountability fades. And when accountability fades, trust disappears. And trust is the one thing a rookie quarterback needs more than anything else. But this issue doesn't start and end with the players. There's a bigger question looming, one that points toward the coaches, the organization.
and the decision makers who are supposed to keep everything under control. Why isn't anyone stepping in? And that question leads us straight into the next chapter of this growing controversy. Every team needs a foundation, a group of veterans who set the standard and hold everyone accountable. And for the Browns, that responsibility has always belonged to the offensive line. These are the players who speak the least but lead the most. They set the tone through toughness, unity, and consistency. But when the leaders start slipping, the entire offense quickly follows. Joel Bitonio is one of those leaders, a respected veteran, a guy who has been through the darkest days of Cleveland football and fought to help the franchise earn credibility again. He's the player younger guys are supposed to lean on, the one who pulls the unit together when things get messy. But in recent viral clips, that same veteran presence is lying flat on the turf, untouched as defenders run free at the rookie behind him. Fans who idolized Bitonio for his grit are now watching film where he appears to be completely uninvolved in the play. And naturally, they're asking, what happened to the leader of this line? Where's the fire? Where's the urgency to fix these breakdowns? Then there's the coaching staff, the voices who are paid specifically to prevent chaos like this. The offensive line coach, the coordinators, the head coach, all responsible for making sure protection problems are identified and addressed immediately. But instead of marching into press conferences with strong answers, instead of making visible changes or demanding accountability, they remain quiet. No explanation, no public frustration, no acknowledgement that something is undeniably wrong. That silence has fans wondering if the issue isn't just on the field, but deeper in the culture. Leadership isn't just about being experienced. It's about being willing to confront problems head on. And right now, it looks like problems are being shrugged off instead of solved. Reports claim that behind the scenes, voices inside the building might be clashing. Veteran players trying to maintain their influence. Coaches trying to manage a young quarterback, still finding his voice. The rookie trying to assert himself as the future while those around him are trying to keep control of the present. That kind of tension doesn't stay invisible for long. It leaks out in missed blocks, in frustrated stares, in the way players walk back to the sideline after a play goes wrong. Football isn't just physical, it is emotional. When leadership fractures, so does effort. If the leaders aren't united, neither is the team.
And the longer these mistakes get brushed aside, the more justified fans feel in questioning whether the organization is protecting the wrong people. Because while veterans and coaches might be insulated from criticism inside the building, the rookie is the one absorbing every hit. But there's another layer to all of this, one that raises even bigger concerns for the Browns' future. Because failing leadership doesn't only affect relationships, it affects development. And a young quarterback's career can only take so many hits, mentally and physically, before the damage becomes permanent. That's where this story becomes more than a controversy. It becomes a warning. The NFL is a league where mistakes never go unnoticed. If a receiver drops a pass, coaches react immediately. If a defender misses a tackle, they hear about it the moment they reach the sidelines. Accountability is supposed to be the heartbeat of professional football. So when Cleveland's offensive line repeatedly collapses, not once, not twice, but over and over again, the lack of visible response from the coaching staff has become its own mystery. Usually, when a rookie quarterback is under siege, coaches become animated. Clipboards slam, headsets come off, someone starts yelling in the huddle. But in this case, the silence has been glaring. No fiery sideline conversations, no reshuffling of personnel, not even a hint of urgency in post-game interviews. The message seems to be, everything is fine. But clearly, everything is not fine. Analysts have noted that the Browns staff hasn't provided a real explanation for the breakdowns. No technical details, no talk of miscommunications, nothing that suggests they're aggressively fixing the problem. And that silence is raising eyebrows far beyond Cleveland. If coaches aren't calling out the issues publicly, are they confronting them privately? Or are they trying to keep a deeper issue from spilling into the spotlight?
Rumors suggest that some in the building may be hesitant to criticize veteran players, especially those with long-term contracts and major influence. It wouldn't be the first time a coaching staff tiptoed around big personalities to avoid backlash. But if protecting feelings is suddenly more important than protecting the rookie quarterback, that's a dangerous priority shift. There's also the question of scheme. Are coaches putting the rookie in positions where he's destined to get hit? Are they slow to adjust protections? Are they asking linemen to execute responsibilities they aren't prepared for? Whatever the case may be, a lack of adjustment sends one clear message. Either the coaches don't see the problem, or they don't want anyone else to see it. Both are terrifying possibilities. Because for the rookie, every snap is a gamble. Every drop back is a test of reflexes and nerves. Every mistake by the people around him becomes another bruise on a young career barely underway.
If the coaching staff isn't stepping in to correct the crisis, fans fear that the damage being done now could follow him for years. The NFL isn't patient with quarterbacks who struggle. Media narratives form quickly. Doubt forms even faster. And while the organization remains quiet, the public conversation grows louder and uglier by the day. Meanwhile, opposing defenses smell blood. They know Sanders isn't being protected. They know pressure brings panic. They know uncertainty kills confidence. And they're attacking relentlessly, because why stop when it keeps working? If the coaches don't take control of this situation soon, the consequences won't just show up on a highlight reel. They'll show up in the rookie's development, in his mentality, and in the trajectory of the entire franchise. And while the silence from coaches continues, the only person forced to answer for all of this every week is the one taking the hits. Which brings us to the most crucial part of this entire story: the toll this chaos is taking on the quarterback himself. Every great quarterback in NFL history has had help, blockers who kept them safe long enough to learn, grow, and rise to the moment. For a rookie, that protection isn't just physical, it's psychological. It teaches them that the game can slow down. It gives them the confidence to look downfield, not at the pass rush breathing down their neck. But in Cleveland right now, that security simply doesn't exist. Shedeur Sanders drops back every snap with the same lingering fear. Is someone about to crush me again? And that kind of fear changes a quarterback. It speeds up the internal clock. It forces rushed decisions. It makes a talented player look hesitant, jumpy, even unsure of his own instincts. Analysts have pointed out that Sanders rarely makes it to his second or third read, not because he can't, but because he doesn't have the time. Even when a clean pocket briefly forms, he expects it to collapse. That's what happens when a quarterback has been hit too many times early in his career. The body heals, but the trust doesn't. And the physical toll? It's impossible to ignore. Every drive, he's peeling himself off the turf. He's looking at the sideline for reassurance that never seems to come. He's trying to stay calm while the very people meant to protect him continue to put him in harm's way. Young quarterbacks aren't supposed to be in survival mode. They're supposed to be developing chemistry, timing, and confidence. But instead of building a foundation, Sanders is stuck dodging disaster. Even worse, he has to carry the blame. When the offense stalls, the fingers always point toward the quarterback first. Not the blockers, not the scheme, him. Fans see the hits piling up. They see the frustration flashing across his face after each snap that ends with a defensive lineman wrapped around his waist. They see a rookie fighting to stay positive, while everything around him feels hostile and unstable. This is how promising careers derail before they ever begin. Think about all the young quarterbacks who entered the league with sky-high ceilings, but crumbled under constant pressure. Talented players who started flinching at ghosts, imaginary rushers created by trauma. Once that fear settles in, it rarely leaves. Sanders was drafted to be the future of the franchise, to be the player who finally brings stability to a team that has been desperate for a long-term answer at quarterback. But a future can disappear quickly if the present is full of danger. And right now, the danger isn't coming from defenses, it's coming from within. Reports claim that even players on other teams have noticed how frequently the rookie is left unprotected. And if outsiders are picking up on it, imagine what that means for Sanders. Every snap becomes proof that his own organization hasn't figured out how to protect their most valuable investment. That pressure, that constant punishment, doesn't just test a rookie's body, it tests his hope. Because how long can a young quarterback believe the franchise has his back when the offensive line clearly doesn't? And if something doesn't change soon, the question won't be whether Sanders can succeed, it will be whether he can survive. This situation has reached a breaking point. The Browns can't ignore the controversy anymore, not when fans are dissecting every snap, not when analysts are calling out protection issues on national broadcasts, and not when the team's future franchise quarterback is the one absorbing all the punishment. If Cleveland doesn't act fast, the consequences could stretch far beyond this season. The organization has a few options, none of them simple. They could shuffle the starting offensive line and bench the veterans whose performances have fueled this drama. That would send a strong message, but also risk escalating internal tensions if emotions are already running high. They could overhaul protection schemes and give Sanders quicker ways to escape danger, though that only masks the deeper issues if the breakdowns are rooted in effort or trust rather than design. And then there's the most drastic possibility: sitting the rookie to protect him from injury and confidence damage. Some insiders have suggested that if the hits continue, the team might have to make the unpopular decision to keep him off the field until they can guarantee better protection. That kind of move would spark a whole new firestorm: frustration from fans, debates about his readiness, and a narrative shift the front office may not be ready to battle. Everything the Browns do next will be judged under a microscope. Every decision, or lack of one, will feed the growing story that something deeper may be unfolding in Cleveland. The silence that once shielded the organization is now creating suspicion, and that suspicion is spreading faster than any PR team can contain it. Meanwhile, opposing defenses are preparing to exploit what they see as a glaring weakness. They're dialing up more pressure, more blitz packages, more hits designed to rattle the rookie until he second-guesses every move he makes. And with the offensive line's issues already trending online, no team is going to hesitate to test Cleveland's protection until the Browns prove they can stop it. The next few weeks are going to define not just Sanders' development, but the reputation of the entire franchise. If the organization stands strong and fixes the problems, this could become moment everyone points back to as the turning point in the rookie's rise. But if the chaos continues, if leadership can't pull the group together, if speculation becomes reality and trust completely collapses, then Cleveland might find itself responsible for ruining the best quarterback prospect they've had in decades. Every snap from this point forward isn't just another play, it's a statement about the direction of the entire franchise. And the NFL world will be watching closely. So here we are, a rookie quarterback with a bright future, a franchise desperate for stability, and an offensive line that looks anything but dependable. Some believe it's incompetence, others think it's miscommunication, but a growing number of fans are asking a far more explosive question. Is this just disastrous football, or are we witnessing something darker unfold in real time? The truth is, nobody outside the building knows what's really happening behind those locked facility doors. The coaches aren't talking, the veterans aren't explaining, and every week that passes without clarity only adds more fuel to a controversy that's spreading across the entire NFL landscape. Maybe the linemen are struggling with scheme adjustments. Maybe tension inside the locker room is affecting communication. Or maybe, and this is only what people online are suggesting, there's a level of resentment toward a rookie who arrived with spotlight-level expectations before he'd played a single down in the league. But speculation aside, one fact remains undeniable. The film does not lie.
Those clips showing untouched defenders crashing into the backfield? Those repeated breakdowns happening only when the rookie steps under center? Those veterans falling down or blocking no one as the play unfolds? All of that is real, and all of it is being watched by millions. If the Browns don't solve this fast, they risk destroying the confidence and the career of the very player they're supposed to build around. And in a league where quarterback development determines success more than anything else, that would be the kind of mistake a franchise never fully recovers from. So now the only question left is the one every NFL fan is asking. What do you think is really happening in Cleveland? Is this A, coaching failure that's gotten wildly out of control? B, a fractured locker room letting emotions spill onto the field? Or C, the unthinkable, intentional sabotage of their own quarterback?
Drop your take in the comments, because this story is far from over, and the conversation is just getting started. More footage will surface, more analysts will weigh in, and every new snap will provide more evidence, one way or the other. Something is undeniably wrong with the Cleveland Browns. The question now is whether they'll fix it before it destroys everything they're trying to build.